Okay. Okay. We're getting ready. Had to do it because. Want to make sure we're ready.
Nope.
This came in today. I was away today, because it was one of my kids' birthdays, so. Yes, this is the same complaint as,
That's a new one, huh?
well, yeah, another one that came in the mail.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to call the meeting of April 1st, 2024 to order.
We can, let's, move that, please.
Yeah, sure. See, who's talking?
Yeah, you wanna move it?
No,
Just
I
move
think
it.
I'll do it. Okay.
I think it has something.
No,
that
you know what? We're
needs
gonna.
to be there.
No, we're gonna pull it over here.
Let me get it.
Such a gentleman.
I noticed that too. Thank you for such a gentleman.
Sorry.
All right, Weston and Sampson are coming in and so is the BHP. Yeah. So they will want to use it.
Okay, open mic. Is anyone here for open mic? Yes, sir.
I'm a fan, thanks.
Name and address.
It's Carol Reardon, 18 Pinedale Ave, Billerica, Mass.
Okay,
So I'm here today, and by the way, I have alopecia, which is a medical disorder, so just, you know, for you board of health people to know. It's autoimmune.
sorry. I apologize.
18 Pinedale, live in Pinehurst,
Yes.
precinct 9, you need to know that.
No.
So I'm here today to discuss, some of the board members' online behavior. What's interesting about this board is that you are appointed, not elected. It'd be nice to put that on a warrant article and change that. A friend of mine who is very closely related to her town government, when they have corruption in town on boards, change it so that they become elected. To cut down on that. I'm sorry, it's my turn to speak, thank you. But you do have some board members who right now online, on Facebook, are being very, we'll call it labeling and demeaning, to a variety of people because of election season. And so, you know, when board members use their power to be so brazenly nasty online, I think it warrants a visit by the constituency to the board. So I thought I'd come and check out the individual who's decided to be so disgustingly brazen and nasty online. Thank you.
No.
Okay. The minutes of March 4th.
Anything else?
Anybody else? No. The minutes of March 4th.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of March 4th.
I second. The motion transfer doesn't so much.
All those in favor? Aye. Board of Health business. Next meeting is May 6th, 2024. Anybody got any questions on that? Moving on. No, we're not moving that far. We're going on to Health Department activity reports. The first one is, I'm lost.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, yeah. These came in late, yeah, please.
No, I got them, I think.
Because it wasn't ready when she went up.
Oh, okay.
Set now.
The first one will be Christine West. Everybody have a copy?
Yes.
Any questions, Chris?
Thank you.
Doctor?
Yeah, I mean, just curious about few cases, it still looks like we are at the peak, like for this last month, we like had 12 cases of flu in Philadelphia.
So it seems like it's consistent with the state though. We had a 57 from last month down to 12, but that was also consistent with the state going up and then back down.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it, Doctor?
Yeah.
Sandra?
Also questioning these numbers, but last month was 57, this month is 12, so that looks like it's decreasing.
Yes.
We're over the worst of it, I would hope.
Mhm.
That's good.
Made it through the season.
Yeah. And now, Harvey's report. Chris, any questions?
Thank you.
Doctor?
Thanks, I have a couple of questions, but first question is on number 119 Green Acre Drive. I'm just curious, what's going on, it seems like everything started on October 2023 and proceeding is still going on as of now. Just curious that are we near to the resolution of the issue?
So it was placed into court and, due to an ongoing probate matter, between the husband and the wife, the clerk magistrate decided to continue it on, and right now, we're at the point, where the clerk magistrate is suggesting that we, issue a warrant, so that way we can move it on to trial. Cause it seems like both parties, the occupant and the owner, really aren't being truthful, and it's taken a long time because it's also in probate and the occupant and the owner are going through a divorce.
Mhm. Okay,
Yeah, we've asked actually town council recently if we could withdraw it without prejudice, and they were in favor of that. We just are waiting to hear if, we received some more documentation from, the occupant.
mhm. Thank you. So I also have a question on number 8. So on Kenmar Drive, unit 86. I mean, for various reasons, I always see that I would say in past 7 or 8 reports. We always saw Kenmar Drive, some unit is, there, but in this case, it was very interesting that the order was reported by the Police Department. It was verified, then, owner was not there, so they didn't respond. And now the case is closed, so just curious that, what was the source of that
So,
order in the first place?
This was an interesting case where, the occupant, is raising crawfish or lobsters. We don't know specifically what it is. Some of them, died while the occupant was away, and, there is odors associated with the dead crawfish. And, she is retired and, says it's her hobby.
Mhm.
And so we're just monitoring it. We've had no new complaints of odors. And
Okay.
so I think she addressed the smell, but, being a hobby of, raising these,
Okay.
crawfish, that's what she wants to continue to do, and she can do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, I was just curious.
No,
Thank you.
that's fine.
Anything else, Doctor?
No,
Sandra?
Yes, please, thank you. I'll start with, number 5, please. I understand that they've changed their mind and they're not going to make it a rental unit anymore.
I'll have to look into that a little bit further,
So
but
my question is, if it's no longer going to be a rental unit, are the windows still a violation? And if it's a violation, if it's a rental, why isn't it a violation if it's an owner?
this owner can live within conditions that are,
But this owner also told us they were putting it on the market as soon as the renter was out. So are they really going to be an occupant, or are they just telling us that to avoid the violation?
possibly both. Um, but you have a valid point. I can follow up with that.
I wouldn't mind closing it once they actually moved in. But until they move in, I'd
Right.
rather it stayed open.
Be a condition of,
The windows not be, building department as opposed to Board of Health.
they're both.
Oh.
They'd have to pull a permit to replace the window.
Excuse me. Any material?
Do we have an extra copy of the agenda for the audience?
I will not. The material that you guys have, because it's not online like everything like done reading and going over. We don't put that online. We do
Not
not
like
put
this
that,
one?
no, it's different way of running a meeting. We do normally have extra agendas.
We can provide the
I can give you
material
that.
for you though.
Yeah, that would be great,
Yeah,
because
we can do that. We
yeah,
have
you guys
that.
have a lot of stuff on there, and I'm not sure everything what you're talking about, I know one of them was smoking, boxing, a couple of other things, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, I missed open mic, so.
Sandra?
My next one is number 6. And again, it's do the repairs need to be done before the porch is permitted? Which order is the,
Front Street. That's the one that we're in today, yeah. That's still open.
it's a plumbing violation, it's a
ongoing.
mold violation, but they're looking for a building permit for a porch.
It's an ongoing problem that has to be resolved.
Yeah.
With the lawyer.
Okay,
He's got it, he's involved.
that didn't state that, so thank you.
No, it just came in
Okay,
at 3:30 today.
okay, thank you. I had a question on 8, which was answered. And, number 10, please. A portion has been removed. What's the plan for the rest of the removal?
I'll have to follow up with that one.
And 2 more questions, I'm sorry. 16. Why is it closed if we don't have a copy of the report? There's no Title V report. And we closed it on his word.
What number?
Number 16.
16 would be. Yeah.
So it was, we observed an odor in the area. A complaint was a sewage discharge. We didn't observe a sewage discharge. We observed odor.
Mhm.
And I suggested to Pavi, let's close it out. Because
But if he hired a Title V inspector and my system was working fine, why wouldn't I proudly show you that Title V inspection?
I'll have to follow up with that one.
And my last one is 23. Anything new? I know it's relatively new, but is there anything new in the last 2 weeks? Definitely good.
23.
23.
Deal.
Nothing new yet.
25 year, is that behind 505 Middlesex Turnpike?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called, Yale Street?
Yeah.
That place is, built, for sure. Okay. Moving on to Shayla Collins's report. Chris? Doctor?
Just curious, on activity number 4. What was that virtual Department of Public Health webinar was all about?
Their monthly, webinars to local public health on a variety of topics. Sometimes it's flu related, just a bunch of things offered on a monthly basis to local public health.
Is that open to any of the board members?
Yeah, I can, are you interested? I
Yeah,
can forward you.
I mean, I'm sure other would be as well, you know.
Anything else, Doctor?
No, thank you.
Sandra?
How is she feeling? Is she back full strength?
She's back full strength.
Oh, good, thank you. No, I would like to at least see your minutes from that meeting, the monthly meetings. If we can't attend them in person ourselves, would like to see the minutes. Just a summary. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Bethany. Flax report. Chris? Doctor?
Well, I really appreciate all the work that you're doing, and I'm really looking forward to see this update and 50H resource list, actually, which she's dividing right now.
Okay. My question was on the community service resource list as well. It should be an ongoing update, shouldn't just be a once a year thing, because she's made it electronically. So it should be as the information changes, it shouldn't be, let's wait until June to do it. My other question, is she duplicating the efforts from the Veterans Department for the issues she's having with that person or the fuel assistance? I know those are sometimes, it's not a duplication of efforts,
Not the fuel systems.
not the fuel assistance, but the other one could be.
No, she does communicate with veterans
Okay,
frequently too.
I just wanted to make sure that they're not both doing it.
All set, Sandra?
Thank you.
Okay. Crystal Bennett's report. Chris, any questions?
Thank you.
Doctor?
No,
Sandra?
Yes, Crystal, the vaping tickets. I can't think of a better way to call that, but when is that going to start? Is that gonna change?
So they've asked to come in to the May meeting.
The May
They need
meeting.
To have another meeting,
Okay.
but they want to have a presentation.
Do we need to update the regulations to incorporate that
Or
or?
be just an appointment of an agent to the board.
actually, I had a question, how everything going with the market basket, updates, with operational.
So we have Market Basket here for stormwater tonight.
Yeah.
But the interior renovations are going, to me pretty smoothly. They, completed a big portion of it and opened up the new section. They are moving forward like a chunk by chunk. If you've been inside, I feel like it's a nice facility, but they poured a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, they will be having sushi, we'll be, having the sushi individual before us for, a variance. So we've been discussing that.
I have some more questions.
Yes. Sandra?
Research regulatory requirements for the facility for boarding and producing dog food. More details, please.
So I was approached by someone who wants to take over the location of Razzies and they want to make dog food and dog treats. And so they were asking us the kitchen setup, certain regulatory requirements. I directed them to the Department of Agriculture and an individual to contact. You have to register your food product with the Department of Agriculture, and the Board of Health has nothing to do with it. So that's my research into this is my reminder in the future, if someone else comes and talks to me about selling dog food or making dog food in the community, that the Board of Health doesn't have jurisdiction over it.
But it was more the boarding.
Oh, boarding?
Yeah, it says will be boarding dogs and producing dog food, so they're gonna do both in that
They're
location?
doing like a daytime training and boarding the animal during the day while they do training. And so one section that's split through a door is going to be a training and boarding during the day, like a doggy daycare almost, but they're doing some behavioral training. The other portion where Rassie's had their like bakery area located will be the bakery portion where they bake the dog treats.
I'd be curious, because I know another company looked at that area to do a doggy daycare boarding situation, and it was ruled out as non-compliant.
But they still have to go through like
Okay.
zoning in other departments as
Mhm.
well. I
Okay.
just wanna say that I spent some time.
No, that's
looking
okay,
into
because I was concerned about it,
Yeah.
that did something change and
And
I
I
wasn't.
said for the boarding, you wanna talk to animal control.
Right.
The kennel license, what the kennel licenses that we need to.
Is different than the agriculture, so I just wanted to check that, thank you.
All set?
Mhm.
Moving on.
Class.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
Smoking in private club. Yeah.
So,
Do they have, does everyone have a
No.
copy of this?
no. You can pass.
You have a
it down.
second one?
I guess.
Can make a Then another complaint came in today about smoking in private clubs as well. And I just wanted to bring this to your attention because it's addressed to the Board of Health about smoking in private clubs that we did talk about this 3 years ago. About well, we had a complaint come in about some. This is specifically about the Elks Club that is allowed to, see, members are allowed to smoke in the club. And there are individuals who are upset about that. And at that time, 3 years ago, we were discussing about maybe moving forward with the regulation. Trying to figure out, what, everyone wanted to do with it. And then COVID came along and this got put to the side. So this is another recent complaint that I was gonna talk to the Elks Club and see the other clubs in the community. And this is something the Board of Health can regulate. There are other communities in Massachusetts that do have regulations that prohibit smoking in private clubs. If you're interested in having a regulation in place, we try to have a smoke-free environment wherever people meet in public. And though this is a private club, it's still under your purview. If you want to look into regulation, I can pull together some regulations in Massachusetts that we can look at.
Christopher, any questions?
The same as the one that's.
It's the same. I don't know if it's the same individual. That other one that you're looking at, it's a same topic.
That came in anonymously today.
It came in through the mail.
Email.
Both of them anonymous.
Yeah, but one we had, the other one just came in today.
Any questions, Chris?
Thank you.
Doctor?
Well, I think this is a very serious issue, but, I think, and it would require enough discussion among us and all, and also what other communities are doing, that is important, but I would also like to see what are the responses from the club owners, the management of the club actually, yeah. Like, I want to hear their opinion first and what they are thinking of.
Would you like to have them in? Would you like me to reach out to them and talk to them separately?
I would say discussion always help, like, so I think that would, I mean, at least that would be my opinion, if they can come or
Sure.
connect with us and then we can start the conversation. That's my opinion.
Okay, well, yeah, well,
Sandra?
I would like to have them in. I'd also like to see the research from other private clubs. Because I know we had talked about this before and done everything but the private clubs, so I think it's time that we look at that.
I certainly agree. It's time to do something. I mean, it's been proven that if you don't smoke, secondhand smoke is still very dangerous to the health of people. So I think it's time to move forward and do something.
okay, so I'll gather some research and, I don't know if May's gonna be as a quick turnaround as I can to get people to come in, but, we can work on it, consecutively.
Can we invite them for June
I
and
think
have
that-
a discussion amongst ourselves in May?
Sure.
And that way we know what we're talking about before we talk to them.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that? No,
No, you're just telling me.
we're gonna move forward. Okay. Appointment of animal inspectors.
These
Krista?
are the same three animal inspectors that we've nominated for the past few years. We work with Christine, who's here actually tonight. And
Ashley, yes. We're just missing Casey.
Any questions, Chris?
What do we actually do here?
Pardon?
We have 3 names.
The same three that,
so
Oh,
this,
say 3 that are current. Yes, okay, thank you.
Doctor?
No, just thank you for keeping our animals safe.
You're welcome.
Sandra?
Thank you. You want to do it again? Do you want to continue? Just thought I'd ask.
Okay.
Okay. I think we need a motion.
Do we want to separate them or do we want to do it all together? One at a
I
time?
think we did them all together.
We did them all together last time. I just wanted to make sure. Make a motion, we appoint the 3 people for animal inspectors. Casey Smith, Ashley Chamel, and Christine Gualteri.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Congratulations.
Enjoy hunting down chickens.
Okay. First order of business is permitting for chickens.
Right.
Yep, Christine?
I'm just gonna move up front here where, do I need to stand up? Yeah. Or?
You want.
Oh, no, I haven't done those before. So.
Just for Jeff.
what is it? So. A few years after I had started, they had revoked permits for chickens. I guess it used to be a standard that you used to have to get a permit, Board of Health or animal inspector would come out and inspect the coops. The birds, make sure zoning for it was to the regulations. Since then, a number of years have gone by. And we as animal inspectors are mandated by the state to do yearly livestock inspections. So on any livestock within the town, chickens, horses, anything that is allowed, that's livestock, we do need to do inspections on, and they're called barn books. We fill them out every fall, and then we send them into the state by the first of the year. When the permits were pulled, we no longer have any registry of who has chickens. And within our service, we come across groups that are in pretty tough and rough conditions as well as some birds. So there is no like fallback, like there's nothing to pull saying that they can't have birds anymore. And a lot of things have leaned almost towards like the animal cruelty neglect side of things. But you don't wanna have to go that route fully.
It's not quite there
It's
yet.
not quite there yet, but it's leading. So without anything to give and take, you kind of put in between a hard place. And there's no differentiation between a felony and misdemeanor for animal control. It's all one. These are chickens, this was the house properly. You know, there are a lot of different cultures that process their own chickens and from where they come from. The housing arrangements are different for their livestock. But here in Massachusetts, they have to have a certain standard, whether they choose to eat them or keep them as just livestock or pets. So we're kind of in a hard place to know. Every year we have to go up to O'Connor's and we pull their invoices to see what residents may have purchased chickens. Other than that, the only other way we know is if we driving around on our daily patrol and see a poop. And then we have to check our list, and if it's on there, we got it. If not, we have to add it to it and then find out their information, call them and let them know that we need to do an inspection.
The reason that the state wants us to do the state inspections is, for emergency preparedness, but also like disease awareness. Say if there's an outbreak of disease, then we can contact whatever groups that we know are within a certain parameter of the sick birds or whatever we came across. So that way they can be notified if they need to be quarantining their birds, like when there was some heavy concern from avian influenza, there was talk of not having birds free range at all, only containing them to their run, but we don't know who has what, so it kind of makes the job tough to.
Right, and when COVID, everybody got chickens because everything was so expensive. You know, so for the eggs, nobody knew what was happening, and so everyone was home, they went out and bought chickens. So now it has skyrocketed and we just don't know who.
Why was permitting dropped?
So animal control, or as an animal inspector, it was myself and former animal control officer Maureen Ray. We were not aware that the permit was being dropped, so we found out after the fact. So I don't know why. Possibly, it may have rumor that it was possibly that they didn't want to pay a permit fee to keep chickens. I think it was voted on at town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know so much if it wasn't that they didn't want to pay it,
Okay.
but town meeting made the decision. Yes, the permitting chickens was not necessary.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is though that we were never consulted as on our end, what the reason for permitting is for and why. So just trying to figure out how we could come up with something, whether we introduce permits again, whether or not you do some type of registration list. I don't think it should cost what it did before, because some horse barn permits are cheaper than chicken permits. And dog licensing is much, much cheaper, so I think that maybe that's something that we could, you know, discuss, so people can maintain their chickens without it being a financial hardship on people, and then lets us in as well to be able to do our job and make sure that they are raising healthy chickens with proper housing.
Just that.
I'd be happy to talk to Christine and everybody else
Come up
about
with some,
plan of action. We do have within our authority to regulate chickens and the sanitary conditions of them, as we have in the past. I can meet with the town manager about it and discuss fees, but I believe it's important for, diseases and outbreaks and preventing that, as we've had cases of, the, like, bird flu up in New Hampshire. And so I feel just for, trying to contain any type of outbreak, it's very valuable for us to, have a permitting mechanism. So that way we can reach out to the individuals that have coops and, we can also see the standards that are being met.
Chris, do you have any questions?
Something that you definitely.
Doctor?
Yeah, I agree, but if, removal of permit was actually approved in the town meeting, so. I mean, this is something, had to be discussed, on that
Mhm.
level as well, but I definitely agree that there has to be some mechanism, so you guys don't need to find, every street and all. So, but maybe, I mean, definitely permit is option, but. Other side, maybe we could just have a simple registration, actually, like, so. All the owners are registered properly and that way we could also give them some classes, actually,
Okay.
just, and if any outbreak, they could be contacted, so. I don't know if that has to be called permit or the registration, but whichever process is easier has to be.
Excuse me, I think the thought between the difference between the permit and the registration is the permit kind of gives us a little bit more teeth when it's somebody who's not caring well for them, but isn't quite at the point that we would charge them like a felony, that it allows us to just say you're done having chickens and you're not having chickens anymore. Versus us convincing them to surrender and realistically next week they can go and buy some from the farmers, right?
Yeah.
Andrea?
What do we have to do? Because town meeting took the authority away. Do we have to go back through a town meeting warrant article
I don't
and
know.
put that in for the fall?
I don't know specifically. I'd have to talk to town manager and also talk to probably the town council.
Town
about it,
council, I
too.
think, would be the one, because if town meeting took the authority away, I think we have to go back to town meeting to get the authority
Yeah.
back.
I would agree with you. But yeah, trying to figure out the best route there.
That may be the simpler route to go directly to town meeting versus trying to put a regulation in here and then have it voted down from town council and then have to wait another
But-
cycle.
The Board of Health does have the authority under Mass General Law to eliminate nuisance conditions. And if chickens are creating nuisance conditions, you're creating a regulation to prevent these. And so that's within your authority. As I wasn't here when that happened,
Right.
I need to investigate it a little bit more. I don't know if we need a bylaw for chickens, which I feel like that's a town meeting. But a Board of Health regulation is within your right, but, we'll investigate it. I'll talk to Christine, and try to get moving forward in that direction. So that way, when like hopefully fall comes around, you're able to do your farm books, we can contact those people. I know you probably have a running list, but it
We do,
changes.
But it's
too.
only for people that purchase through O'Connor's,
Yeah.
because, I mean, you can buy them in
Buy
the
them
mail.
You can buy them
Yeah,
online.
You can get
yes.
them on pull off Facebook,
Mhm.
that's free, like everywhere.
So,
Right,
It just,
it's
we've
also-
come through, we've just come across so many horrific
Yeah.
coops that it's like, we really need to have something and to be able to, thus far, it's been great. We're talking with the people and then, choosing to surrender or tell them what needs to be fixed, but I feel like the direction it has been going, it's gotten worse.
And when you have bad coops too, it opens the door for like rodents, rats, right? Everything
Yeah.
from it.
What's the max on them? You know,
12,
12 is the max. Okay.
and no roosters.
Yeah.
Contained under product, right?
Correct, and they have to be a
Yes,
certain
yeah.
distance from sewer lines.
I don't think we should rely on town meeting to do something. I think
No, I think
we should do something.
We can look into, definitely look
Yeah.
into it.
Okay,
Yes.
But I also think that And they should be aware that, this topic is coming to one of them, time for the conversation, so. It's not like we are, like. I mean, I think just a simple discussion between everyone involved would be good enough, that's what I think.
Thank you.
I think we're all set, Mr. Fields, right, with the ladies? Thank you, ladies.
For bringing it
Thank you.
forward.
Thank you. I didn't see that.
Thank you.
You're all set. You,
Yep.
okay. All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, Christine.
Thank you.
Okay. We have 3 Morningside Drive, Adam Betlick. Yeah.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gordon Rogerson. I work at Hayes Engineering out of Wakefield, Mass, and I'm here representing Adam Benwick and his family on this property at 3 Morningside Drive. From the last time we were here, last month, I came and reworked the numbers for the amount of compensatory storage on the property and have revised the plan, and so that we increase the compensatory storage on the property by 529 cubic feet, as indicated in green. In this area, to the right-hand side of the property. Earlier this month, we have been before the Conservation Commission with this exact plan. And they actually reviewed the plan, took the plan and closed the hearing. And we're going to issue the order of conditions on this site. I'm here tonight to request from your board a variance to be able to work with this proposed add within the floodplain. So basically, the only difference is from the last time we talked, we revised the numbers and added this section over here to the right of the house for the compensatory storage, so we gave it more storage than what we were asking for originally.
What was the date of their meeting?
Oh,
It was,
3 weeks ago on Thursday night,
No, they meet on Wednesdays.
wait, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Wednesday.
they, conservation meets on Wednesday nights. And it was like, we had the meeting on the 4th, so it wasn't that Wednesday, it was the following, was it the 12th?
That sounds about.
Mhm.
Getting the meetings mixed up, but
Yeah.
many meetings tonight, so bouncing around. So it's- I do want to mention that we did notify the butters and I have the green cards to prove it. I will give it to your secretary
Yeah.
for submitting
Yeah.
the project.
Okay.
Is Phil? Is Phil?
That's
No.
not with this one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Would you like to?
Sure. So I did review this, both Isabel, the conservation director, and I reviewed this, and we also talked to you on the phone about the compensatory storage, and they are providing additional 400 or 500
square.
square
cubic
feet. So
Yes.
beyond of what the addition is taking, the garage that's being built into the floodplain, they're taking back some of the area and providing more flood storage. And they're also providing drainage, an infiltrator unit on the proposed garage too. And so I feel like this would have minimal impact to the floodplain. And also providing additional storage is what we will also want to see too. But I just wanted to, I had a question. How are you gonna secure what, are you taking away the land, and then how are you gonna, are you grading it? Are you,
Yeah, we'll take away the material that's above the floodplain line
Mhm.
and haul it off-site And,
How you stabilize it, sorry.
we'll stabilize it by using, the meadow mixed seed. It's a small areas of, using meadow, mixed seed, approved by the Conservation Commission.
Thank you.
Chris, any questions?
No questions.
Doctor,
No, it's still happy with the plan.
Sandra,
I'm good with the revisions from the last time, thank you.
and Conservation has approved this,
Yes, they have.
they have approved that.
We've got the approval on file. Thank you, John.
Any abutters that would like to speak on this? See no abutter, I'd be happy to take a motion.
Okay, I will make a motion to grant a variance of within floodplain to Mr. Adam Badgett at 3 Morningside Drive.
You have a motion, do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All right,
Thank you very much.
good luck. Next on the agenda is 600 Technology Park Drive.
You'll knock the basket, okay, so we, I'm not here on it. It's kind of, no,
It's not here.
it's not. Oh. Yeah. Huh?
Right, that's 600.
Yeah, 400, yeah.
Table till next month,
Huh?
table till next month.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine, yeah, fine, yeah.
Moving smartly,
They're still on time.
300 Concord Road.
They're not here either, it's the same. Yeah.
Organization.
We'll table that one too.
Pause 1 minute, you can do the next one.
Oh, we need 7:45.
Yeah,
What time is it?
it's almost 7:45.
Oh, it's more beyond 7:45. 7:47. Moving smartly,
Moving smartly.
700 Boston Road.
Got all the green.
Good evening. My name is Eric Girard. I'm a civil engineer with VHB, the project manager on a project representing Valley MD, which is Demoulas Supermarkets. Carmine Tomas is also here with LT Development, the owner's rep on the project. We're here for the project history of the project. We're here tonight for a variance for work within the floodplain, the local floodplain, the green floodplain maps. as well as the stormwater management permit for the site. Just some of the project history here. We did receive a special use permit back in May of 2023, which allowed Mark Basket to move forward with the interior expansions at the property. It was a supermarket use that was existing non-conforming, which they needed to bring current in order to receive that permit. Part of that approval is to come back this fall with a full site plan review and upgrades the entire site. The parking lot, stormwater management plan, utilities. So that's where we had resubmitted in November of 2023, the Planning Board and Conservation Commission. And we've recently completed those processes. March 11th at the Planning Board hearing, we received our site plan special permit for the site improvements. That was after 3 public hearings with them. Conservation Commission issued their notice of intent. They closed the hearing at the March 13th hearing. That again was our 3rd hearing with them as well. Other processes throughout the process, meetings, peer review with Beta, also staff coordination meetings throughout January, February, and then even previously before we met with the boards throughout last summer as well. We performed additional field investigations out there. We had a geotech report completed, and then additional test pits at each of the stormwater management basins in January of this year. We worked with the town as well as Beta to complete our peer review process and addressed all the stormwater management comments. And that was on the March 11th letter back from Beta. Just an overall kind of general background of the site. So 700 Boston Road, Town Shopping Plaza, a 31-acre parcel in the retail shopping center, zone general business. It is an existing facility that's been operating for 60+ years, 221,000 total square feet of retail space. Existing non-conforming previously, and they've received their special permits for that. General project location, I think most are familiar. That's just outlining the site. Little zoomed in version showing, this I believe was from October of last year, showing as they were doing the expansion, their staging area as well as the expansion of the store into the former Bob space. So why we're here, the work within the green floodplain limits. This is a view of the town's GIS system. Sorry, the orientation is a little different with true north up. Identifying the portions of the property that are within the local green floodplain limits. You can see us primarily 3 locations within the existing parking field. And those are all essentially low points in the parking field that are hydraulically connected with the drainage system at each of those catch basins. I think, you know, it's pretty familiar with the flooding issues that are out there today, especially over the last year, all the rain that we have received, especially in the last August with the 8-inch rain storm event. Pretty apparent that there's a drainage issue out there. Additional work that we had done was inspection of the closed drainage systems, CCTV work, and some of that pipe network is failing, it's blocked. Some of the pipes are of intrusions. So part of the project, all the infrastructure that is going to remain is getting replaced. So then moving forward, overlaying our proposed work on those same limits. The work we are doing primarily is related to regrading the existing parking area, modifying the parking area. We are adding about 24,000 square feet of pervious area compared to what's out there today. So overall, there's going to be a reduction in stormwater runoff coming off the site. So as far as where we're doing the work in the floodplain, we are raising that grade. However, we are upgrading the entire stormwater management system. So we're not relying on the volume that is currently provided out in the parking field. So it will no longer flood. We're getting that water off the parking lot and into the basins where it should be. So we will no longer experience that flooding. And the basins are sized to provide that same peak rate attenuation that was currently provided up there today. This is just kind of going back through some of the info that we presented with conservation, the resource areas that are out on the site, the border and vegetated wetlands, the isolated vegetated wetland bank, land subject to flooding, which is the green engineering floodplain mapping, and then the buffer zones associated with that work. That's just the westerly side, and then this is the easterly side, just re-highlighting where some of those areas are. As far as the stormwater management goes, as I mentioned, the existing site is very limited out there. It's primarily outdated infrastructure, small pipes, a few catch basins that are not adequate to handle today's storms. It probably wasn't sized properly years ago. It was probably a 10-year storm event or so. Excuse me. Additionally, out on site, there is very high groundwater. So looking at various best management practices to try to get rid of that water, but infiltration was challenging. We were able to find a couple of locations that was feasible. So the proposed stormwater management design, it meets the Mass DEP stormwater management standards, the town of Billerica stormwater regulations, and it's consistent with the EPA MS4 regulations. And primarily what that boils down to is the water quality and water quality control benefits for the redevelopment. So we're achieving the 80% minimum for the total suspended solids removal, 50% total phosphorus. There's a current, there'll be a new operation of the maintenance manual that will get recorded at the registry. And overall, there's a reduction in peak rates of flow at the property. The stormwater best management practices that we are incorporating, essentially the treatment train goes from the deep company catch basins. We have significantly many more of them on site to collect that rainwater in a manageable capacity. Those primarily discharge to a 7-4 bay or water quality treatment device. And we are proposing 2 new oil and water separators on the main trunk lines prior on the main parking field. And that's the extra level of protection for oil containment. The site is a land use with higher potential pollutant load. So we are required by DEP to install some additional measures to collect that oil. The main points, we are proposing 4 pocket wetlands to provide that water quality treatment for total suspended solids and primarily total phosphorus. Additionally, on the westerly side, due to groundwater elevations as well, gravel wetland was the best alternative in that spot. And similarly, that provides that adequate treatment for the area of the parking field that is picking up. And additionally, where infiltration was feasible, there's 2 small infiltration trenches at the rear that we are able to collect and discharge and gain some benefit from water quality through that. And new pipe infrastructure throughout to handle the 25-year storm event. So those are the upgrades we wanted to run through with you tonight. We're open, for your approval and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Bill?
Yes, so, Eric and his team did a great job. As you know, this site was constructed well before any regulations related to stormwater were in place. It was kind of a challenge when we reconstructed Allen Road. There's a lot of runoff coming from this site, untreated, and contributing to the flooding in the lower reaches of the Shawshene River. Having said that, this design substantially increases both reduces the runoff and increases the water quality from the site to current standards. The amount of the reduction in impervious surface obviously reduces the peak rate of runoff from the site. They are providing some infiltration, a lot of treatment, and just all the impervious surfaces will be treated now, as was stated. anything contributing to going to the wetland will meet the standards as well. And because it is a high intensity use parking lot, considered a land use of higher potential pollutant loads. They have added the, oil water separators to be able to capture any, floatable, hydrocarbons. And, they will, what systems were in place, were not maintained. They have now an elaborate operation and maintenance plan in place to take care of their systems ongoing. And yeah. So we have, they have addressed all the comments that we had discussed, and we've had a lot of back and forth, and they've been very cooperative in meeting the standards. There are a few standard conditions that we included in our letter. Basically, we want to see any excavations for their stormwater treatments, make sure that the soil conditions are as they stated in their design. We would expect a final stormwater pollution prevention plan and notification of EPA's permit for this site and be submitted prior to the pre-construction meeting. And then a final operation and maintenance plan to be recorded.
Okay, thank you. Crystal, do you have any comments?
No additional comments. I'm
Okay.
thankful that the data did conclude the review.
Chris, do you have any questions?
Yes, as we learned this year, perhaps our expectations of years of storms in between them are not necessarily correct. So you said a 25-year storm?
The pipe infrastructure, the basins are up to the 100-year.
Okay, thank you.
Doctor?
Yeah, a couple of questions first. How long this whole project would take actually?
To construct,
Yeah,
my understanding, it's probably kind of, I don't know, about a year, probably.
Probably gonna take all of that, yeah, it's pretty involved, it's gonna involve a lot of.
I guess it's the phasing pieces of it.
Right.
The center will stay open as they make sure. Yeah, so there is a phasing plan that was provided, and that will get refined once a contract is on board, to make sure that we can nail down those, dates a little bit better.
and is there any changes in the parking lot in terms of capacity, number of spots or anything?
We reduced parking by almost 200 spaces likely, it was about that, and that allowed us to get more green space in there. There'll be all the end cap islands, some linear islands, so no one's gonna be cutting through. That kind of is tied into a lot of pedestrian safety, and public safety out there as well. Another big plan about that.
Okay, thank you.
Andrew?
Question, during construction, what sort of protections are there for the abutters from these heavier storms? We've seen problems elsewhere in the town with construction, and perhaps the wastewater management not being adequate.
Yeah, so they'll be working with the contractor to make temporary sediment bases throughout construction, diversion channels, additional erosion controls before each of the basins to protect those areas as well. Need to be maintained in accordance with the final stormwater pollution prevention plan.
Thank you.
Andrew?
I also have questions on the 100-year storm versus the 25 years, so thank you for clarifying that. You're reducing the parking. We've had a problem with the mall, with the size of the parking spots. What size of the spots going to be?
The size are per zoning. We didn't ask for any reduction in sizing, and in fact, Market Basket in their front of the stores, they have them a little bit larger than the zoning. So we're at least the 9 by 18. A lot of them are 9 by 18.5, I would say, in a wider drive aisle.
Okay.
So it will be larger than what's currently provided.
Thank you. Handicap spots throughout the construction, will they still be adequate and accessible?
Yeah, we'll make sure that the adequate spaces that are up there, that adequate temporary measures.
Okay. And I liked the increase in the infiltration, the new oil separators, that's great, and it sounds like a great plan, because that parking lot floods all the time. Thank you.
When will the construction start for this
Second
portion?
questions? I mean, I think you guys are probably hoping what this,
I think, yeah, we'd like to start as soon as possible, for sure.
Okay.
Given the time frame and complexity of trying to do the juggling act of keep everything open and operating as best we can, so, yeah.
Okay.
The store construction as was mentioned earlier, is well underway, so it'd be helpful to get it started as soon as we could.
Okay,
and I think the timing was to try to have the store construction complete as the site's construction, so everything would be ready to go.
okay. Are there any abutters who'd like to speak? Well, start right there. Name and address, dear.
Yes, Janet Fahey, 159 Allen Road. I'm in the townhouses that are along Whitbrook Road. We have a little stream. It used to be a little stream that runs behind our units. And now with all the rain that we've been having, it's not just a little thing that dries up. It's just, you know, it's a running brook now. So my concerns are, where is this water going to go? I mean, we're downhill.
Mhm.
We're not directly behind you, but that little brook runs behind a lot of our units, so how are we gonna be protected?
So we're not changing where the water is all going, we're just controlling it as it's leaving our property. The overall rates of reduction for the various storm events are reduced, so there will be less flow that will be going to that stream from our property.
I live,
Hold on.
oh, okay.
Are you all done, dear?
I am, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's okay, now,
Sorry.
you need to identify yourself and address.
I live at 4 Heavenly Way.
What's your name?
Erin Matheson. 4 Heavenly Way, I'm like direct, like behind that fourth circle, I'm behind McDonald's. Along the fence. So I'm just curious what the construction is gonna entail, like you clearing out like a lot of the woods? Am I gonna, like, what is it gonna look like, the basin?
So the basin, it's called a pocket wetland, so we got excavated down and it wants to generally be at groundwater within, that's where that treatment zone happens. It's gonna be revegetated with wetland plantings, so when it grows back, it's gonna essentially look like a wetland. There won't be large trees coming out of it, so we do have to clear kind of the perimeter of that basin. There'll be some berms coming up, and due to the size, we do need to put a fence around it. Like a 4-foot high chain link fence, will have a 6-inch gap in the opening for critter crossing. And then as part of the planning board process, they did request we add some buffer plantings along that back edge. I believe you mentioned your houses, so we are adding some additional evergreen planting, so there should be a better natural buffer along that edge.
How close to my property line is it gonna be? Is it gonna be closer to where that, the water already kind of is back there, where that brook is?
Closer
or-
to a stream as far as an actual distance, I can have that in here.
That? How big it's gonna, is that?
Yep, so that's the setback line, so it's definitely closer than what's out there today, because it is wooded out there, the existing tree line will get slightly pushed back, we're not clearing to the property line.
Okay. So it's the trees that you're planting, that sounds fantastic as far as, keeping down on like the pollution, I feel like that I'm not gonna be kind of getting from 3A, but I mean, the sound and the privacy buffer that I've been getting from the trees, I feel like we're gonna totally lose. Is there any way to request you extend the fence on like an L and that's already there? where the trucks go and also do a fence, like a wooden privacy fence or something to keep my kids out of there and to, you know what I mean?
Like that, Ed?
Yeah,
Because we do have the fence on the.
you guys
on the
did
face of
install that
itself.
fence when you did the addition. I've lived in this house my whole life, so I remember before the pet store wasn't there and everybody needs to cut through, but. Yeah, like I really I don't want the kids going out there, you know what I mean? Plus the noise is. Really gonna be. I feel like I'm gonna have a straight shot looking out to 3A. Now.
Yeah,
that I
'cause the
didn't
buffer
have.
on this edge, it stays, but yeah, we do need to clear it. I mean, that's part of the give and take, I guess we were up against with. You know, the stormwater management rules and regulations that we need to comply with, and the property that's available to actually make that work. This is really the only location, for this area to provide that treatment.
And also, there's a lot of ledge too, like, in between my house and the back of the plaza. We do tend to get water sometimes, in the backyard, but I'm concerned now too, that like the water table and everything. What's, like, if I do start getting water down the line, is there any kind of, like, after this has been put in, do I have any kind of recourse, or am I just? Kind of,
Well, the water's all coming kind of this
I mean, as
way,
far as the water table being affected, is that gonna,
it shouldn't impact the water.
the groundwater level?
So, yeah, we did test bits in the area to understand, to make sure that these would fit in and there wasn't,
Okay.
you know, ledge or refusal in that location. So yeah, the overall hydrology and the groundwater, will not be impacted. I mean, if anything, we have less impervious area going to that location now. We're just storing it there and then discharging it out to the stream with the same.
Okay. It's very, I don't know. It's very kind of upsetting for me, to be honest.
Is there any-
I get you have to do what you have to do, I just, kind of upset, trees coming down, and losing my privacy and the sound barrier.
Is there any chance of putting a stockade or fence, 6-foot fence or 8-foot fence to
I'd
give
have
them
to-
some privacy?
We'd have to check back with Market Basket on that, but yeah, during the planning board process, when they were discussing the buffer, they had asked for some additional screening with the natural buffer. Primarily, and that's also because it's within the, you know, the resource area to the stream as well.
Well, could they go back to Market Basket and ask them about the fence and how high it can be? And can they also?
I'm gonna
have
speak, you need
additional trees?
your name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry, Grace Tucci, 7 Carson Street. She's my family member. So I was just wondering, can they put a fence? In addition, and add additional. Plant more trees or something? Cause she's gonna lose a lot of,
May I ask a
Privacy.
question? Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are you looking more for privacy or are you
Privacy,
looking
safety.
more? Nope, you looking more for privacy or soundproofing?
Both privacy, safety, soundproofing, when in the winter time. I can see the cars and there's a lot of noise, there's no one stopping anybody up at Market Basket from hanging out, and the kids are all running amok up there, it's very loud, it's burning rubber. All night long, there's fights happening out at Market Basket, I would just kind of like to not have it, like, it be like, oh, I get a movie going on my,
Right.
you know?
I'm just trying to make it so it doesn't make your situation worse. Is there any
Yeah.
way to put a soundproofing barrier in? That'll,
Which would be a fence,
Which would
correct?
be
I mean, I don't know, yeah,
pick a-
south from the area. I mean, so we do have a fence for safety, and we do have, plantings for, you know, buffer, which will help with sound as well. If, you know, the existing trees out there, you know, they're pretty large today, so this will create a, you know, another understory to that, to what is being, you know, preserved along the ridge.
just trying to think of
Well, this,
sound dampening.
the winter time. There's, I mean, in the summer, there's more like lower maple and things like that,
Mhm.
so I feel like when you went out there in November and. Or
doing your look, it looks totally different now and in November as it will in the summertime. And it is louder in the summertime, in the springtime, when everyone's out hanging out in the parking lots and stuff on the weekends.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's significant tree plantings, throughout out there, a mix of, everything in the situation.
But you could check with Market Basket to see if they could put some sort of a fence that would give them a little bit of a sound barrier also. You're putting a chain link fence, correct?
There's a chain link fence for safety around.
I'd also like to visually block the chain link fence and the allure of it, of my kids and my niece and nephew who are younger. I don't want them being like, oh, let's go check out, like, you know what I mean? If it's out of sight, out of mind, I don't have to worry about the kids maybe being curious and going and poking around back there. That also would be kind of more the safety consideration of it, that I would prefer to have a wooden stockade 8-foot fence in addition to the trees.
I mean, I guess it's a discussion we could have with Market Basket on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we went through this issue, obviously, with the planning board and the conservation commission. And that was, there was I'm assuming there was a public discussion at that point. There was a determination that the water quality issues were really merited doing this. Even though we had to eliminate the trees, and the thought was, Eric, could you just point out those additional plantings, or is there any way to zoom in on those?
Yeah, let me.
Because the discussion at the time was that those additional plantings and the types of plantings would be more like an evergreen kind of thing, which would help. I really was not sure that a fence would do anything more there. And I'm concerned about now having conflicts with what the planning board approved, and there's sort of a back and forth here.
How long, like, are they
So-
going to survive out there with the new proposed wetland area? Are those trees even gonna thrive out
Yeah,
there
so
in that type of situation?
These new buffer plantings, they're outside of that. So the new pocket that will function as a wetland, it's stormwater management feature. So yeah, there's still a natural buffer from the setback to your property line. And then, yeah, we'll have the new buffer as well as the fence. So I guess, what if a stockade fence is put in and I guess it doesn't, I guess, solve your concerns or something like that as well. Yes, I guess we can have the discussion with Market Basket
I
on.
mean, from a cost perspective, are the trees gonna be any less than are they gonna be little tiny arborvitaes that are gonna take forever to even fill in, or like? How much would the fence be compared to the tree?
Yeah, it was more the natural vegetation was, conservation
More than
really want to see,
Okay.
as well as, planning board, because it is kind of a naturalized area out here.
What about the height of the trees that they're gonna plant?
And the trees that we're gonna plant, maybe, let me, So eastern red cedar, the smaller circles, like there was 20 of them, and those will be 6 to 7 foot in height at time of planting.
What's the distance from the trees that you're planting to her property line?
It's about 25 feet.
So if you have the tree line, could you put a fence outside the tree line? Between her property and the trees? Just to give her another area of a barrier.
Can the fence go there? Sure.
So you've got the retention area, you've got this new tree line that you're planting, and then put a fence after the trees.
Sure.
Does that make
There's an
sense?
existing fence that is also coming all the way down on my back edge.
Say, isn't there a fence there?
Yeah, so I'm saying, can we bang out an L off
Yeah.
of that and, you know, that,
Yeah, but she's saying that just behind the tree, so you're making it as,
Yeah, so L coming along your property.
Correct.
Yeah.
Would that be a compromise that would help you?
yes, that's what I'm, yeah.
Can that be a discussion?
Could you outline where the fence like is gonna be around the thing that's being put in?
There's like circles going
Yeah.
around it.
I mean, that is huge, to be honest. I feel like it's like,
It's a function of the regulations.
I get it, and it's great that this is going in, because it seems very quite polluted back there, and there's been a lot of flooding, and, you know, I'm just, it's all great that what you're doing for the water and everything. I just feel like as the only one really being directly, you know, butted against it, it really kind of, it's not gonna look, yeah, that's kind of lousy for me. And there's gonna maybe be people trespassing around it too, I feel like, that's part of, you know what I mean? There's gonna be people trouncing around back there, checking it out, like, what's that back there, you know? It's already.
Well, these are gonna do with the boat. All right, I get that. If you're out there with their rafts. I'm not running.
We could have a discussion with Market Basket on that.
Yeah, we can look at it, and so the request is basically to have something that matches what's existing on the perimeter, we just have it go along that back property line. Yeah,
Yes.
you know how far of a distance that is?
And maybe have a discussion with the abutter,
Yeah.
just so you guys are in tune together.
Yeah.
As to what's gonna happen.
That's me right there on the front.
I mean, it's 150 feet. So
Are you all set there?
Yes, thank you.
There's a gentleman in the back.
I know. Yes, sir.
My name's William Matheson. I'm father of Kevin Matheson at 16 Garden Brook Road, whose property abuts right up against the parking lot in the back on the north corner of the plan. I'd like you to call up, if you would, the slide that you had showing the drainages surrounding that. In that corner on the north, I think it was the third slide you showed. Now, it actually shows where the water drains to. Yes, well, there was one that's probably better than that, but, Kevin's, well, she said, I should say, so close, Kevin's property is right along this line. Okay, and let me step back. Okay, it showed a drainage that was going this way, and then there was another drainage that went that.
I guess I'm. So this is the drainage plan here.
It actually showed where water went, where water goes now, actually.
That I showed tonight.
Yeah, we showed it tonight, it was probably the third slide. Oh, there it was, back in some picture. So here's what we're talking about, is this area. And from our perspective, not so much this area, but right along here, there are two culverts that come out from under the parking lot. One of them goes to this swale, if you will, and it actually is, it's a constructed ditch. We're talking about right here on that corner. There's actually a ditch that was dug probably in the 60s. You know, before anybody was concerning themselves too much with this. That ditch drains on a continuous basis, pretty much all year long. A small trickle, it's more than that right now, but you know, in the summer it'll go down to a trickle. But that has created And I wouldn't be surprised if that picture, that green area there it doesn't designate wetlands. But it's actually created a small patch of wetland by plant definition, if you will, skunk cabbage and so forth. And so it's always been a problem because it delivers water to his property right there. That's, as a matter of fact, let's see, his house, it's hard to see, but it's right about here. This, we would prefer to see it actually fixed and not made worse by whatever you're doing here. One of the drainage ones right about here, I'd say there's actually an electrical panel right around here. It's right near that. One of them actually has the rocks and gravel that turn black from what looks like, a septicity. Now, there's no indication that there's sewerage or anything going out of that pipe, and right now it's dry. I was there this afternoon. I took a hike through this just to refresh myself with, the situation. So already there are issues with this operation with 4 o'clock dumpster emptying. So the noise created by that is, I live on the other side of Garden Brook Road, and I'm awakened every night when they empty the trash. And probably on this corner of the building, these 2 businesses right here. In the wintertime, this is where they put the snow. They push it right off the edge of this parking lot and right into his property. And so that's another issue. And we've got the parking of the snow plows, they're still there even now. All the big front end loaders and everything. And that's not so much a problem as the noise created by that and the trash that flows into my son's property as a result. He couldn't be here tonight, by the way. Otherwise, you'd be listening to him. So he's asked me to step in his place. So his name is Kevin Matheson. You're dealing with the Mathesons tonight. Okay, on 2 different ends of this thing. So at any rate, we would like to see, obviously, that situation improved. And maybe there should be a fence there or plantings there, the headlights from cars pulling in around this end of the building or trucks or whatever, shine right directly into the windows at the back of this house. There's a lot of annoyance already with living so close to Market Basket, but it's, we certainly don't want it to get worse. So we'd be perfectly happy to sit down with the Market Basket folks and discuss some of these issues. But, I don't know what you can do. I don't know whether there was pre-existing brook that flows out of that pipe, because it doesn't seem to be storm related, that the water just continuously flows out of the pipe. And all of that water, by the way, goes down to Wet Brook, which flows right by my property. And there's continuing issues in that brook with sediment. Every time it storms, that heavy sediment in that brook. But that, I have never seen that brook flood other than this year, where it really got bad. And the water quantities doesn't appear to be so much an issue other than 100 or 1,000 year storm that we've experienced. But this corner of the building is the parking lot is already a nuisance. We'd certainly like to discuss ways that we can mitigate that. I don't know if it was the plan to seal off those pipes that just go out onto his property.
Seal them up?
Yeah, whatever, you're talking about putting in new pipes and drainages.
Well, I guess. Can I respond?
Sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, you brought up a lot of the points that we, as designers, need to look at, right? And there are certain regulations on what we can and cannot do. One is maintaining these hydrologic connections, hydrology. And that, this isn't showing wetlands, this is showing the green floodplain mapping, which is a GIS map back from, I think it was the 70s, 60s or 70s when that was created. And you're right, that pipe probably is flowing. The groundwater is very high out here. this groundwater breakouts on the parking lot, every spring, I believe. So as part, coming down the hill off of 3A. So that's why we're into some of these larger basins that you're seeing, is because we need to manage the stormwater, per the new regulations to treat it. So that's why these basins, instead of going deeper, they're getting kind of wider. We're limited by that groundwater. That groundwater's helped treating them, so we are able to reduce that rate, leaving them. But we aren't getting rid of the wetlands. That's another whole process that, we don't want to go through. Mitigation for that, DEP, there's a lot more involved, and likely not something. So, it is an existing shopping center. We're not changing operations out here. As far as buffering goes, conservation did ask us to put in additional resource area buffer plantings to reestablish their the 25-foot and 50-foot zones that they're concerned with, to help reestablish those areas where the parking areas are so close. Based on the function of how it needs to operate, we need to maintain those limits of pavement along the back for the access, the way it's been operating, since the 60s. But that's kind of, the devils that we're up against on the site design to make it work with the regulations.
I'd like to suggest that it's a good time, if we're addressing these issues, a good time to bring them up to current levels right now. And, their current limits, so that, we're not dealing with this again sometime. It would be, I don't know what the source of water is from that one pipe that runs all the time. But the one with the black rocks, it appears to have some kind of a septicity issue associated with it. Otherwise, I don't know why the rocks would turn black. And there is no water coming out of that today. So with all the rain we've had, it doesn't appear to be, storm culvert related, but there it is. It's a culvert coming out of from under the parking lot there. So I think we'd appreciate if we could get it looked at and addressed, and maybe I'll leave it at that. We'll be glad to sit with the board folks.
I mean, I guess we have looked at it, and that's kind of where we're coming from, and, planning board, multiple meetings with the town, conservation, to address all these issues.
So I think this is the first time the butters have been asked to address any of this stuff. I haven't seen any notices. My son hasn't seen any notices.
We've sent 3 sets of notices.
Yeah.
And did they go to all the butters?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm apparently not in a butter, the other side of Hattiesburg Road. Not that I am not in receipt of water. It's okay. Thank you.
The 2 catch basins, I know there are a couple of basins out back. What is their purpose right now?
A couple of them are essentially filled with water. There is the basin. Let's see if there's water.
They're not maintained.
They haven't been made, they've been slightly, they've been mowed. But yeah, the basins themselves, they haven't been probably cleaned out in a while, and they have filled up with some sediment. The one in the back by the loading docks is connected. There was it was a constructed basin back in the 90s, which is essentially formed into, wetland plantings and stuff. So instead of trying to rebuild that basin, we're essentially gonna make that a formal pocket wetland, make it bigger. It's adequately gonna pick up that runoff and direct it. Essentially, it's not gonna go into a catch basin because we don't have the,
Right.
you can't get it out, right? Once we're down to 3 feet to discharge it. So that's all gonna collect on the surface and run off. We're gonna put curbing along the back edge. And that's directed into some pre-treatment devices. They're rain guardian, rain bunkers or rain torrents. And that's the first kind of flush that we're picking up to treat it. And then that will discharge into the sediment forebay, which is another level of treatment prior to getting into the pocket wetland, which provides the final treatment that DEP requires. And then it will go through an OLA control device, which will be elevated to control that peak rate prior to it essentially discharging out at the same location towards the wetland today.
Now, does most of the water go to Webbrook or does it go down Arcadia Road?
There's three outlets. with the-
The one going down Arcadia Road is not very wide.
Right.
That's one of the, and then I know Webbrook is up by Bennett Circle. That's a lot bigger than,
If you go back to yeah, there's the one that goes up the northwest corner. One that goes right behind it, yeah, and then the one, yeah, those three.
And then there's a culvert that goes all the way up that way. That picks up water, so. Okay, so this whole front parking field goes up.
towards Webbrook, which is bigger. It can accept more water, okay.
We're not sending more water.
No, I know that, no, it just, the brook itself is wider as opposed to what comes down Webbrook, I mean Arcadia Road. They're very narrow.
He's doing the new pipes as well for the infrastructure.
What, are you out back? What have those catch basins, what are they doing right now? Nothing? Bill said they were empty. It was empty, the one he looked
Catch
at.
basin with the culverts, the actual pipes themselves. So they're collecting, essentially the roof top runoff and it's running straight out of those pipes.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Diana Saunders. I've lived in that area for a long time.
Address?
My address is, Oxford Road, 20 Oxford Road, but I used to live down there.
Yeah.
So I'm well aware of all the problems down there. First of all, that whole section does not have sewage, number one. Number two, all behind the Melissa's, and I love the Melissa's, I'm always there, that's all wetlands. And what happens is, when that floods, that goes down Arcadia, and you were just talking about the brook that's on Arcadia that crosses Allen Road. Well, it crosses Allen Road, then it goes down to Ravine Road, it goes across, and that's much bigger, and that floods out. And it goes all the way over to, it used to be Evergreen, Marshbrook. Marshbrook Road, that road is now flooded. Okay, my concern is that's only, so the three roads there going into the Riverdale section are all flooded.
Well, that's because the river's high though, correct, at this time?
Of the what?
The river is high, extremely high.
It doesn't matter, it happens all the time. I can go down there, my father lives down there. Okay, and I can go down there, right now you can go down there and Shashi has Marshbrook Road. It used to be, a three-way. Well, now the road is like, only a one-way, just Marshbrook. The other way you can't go because they have barriers around it because the Shashi is flooded.
Very high.
Right.
I live down there. I know that the Joshing been high and it'll probably get higher this week, but
But 20 years ago, it wasn't that high. It's just getting worse and worse, and what we do.
well, we got a lot of rain last year.
I'm
And
only
Deanna-
talking about the last year, I'm saying the last 20 years, that road, I used to live down there. Well, 30 years ago, and it was never that bad. Now it's just getting worse and worse. I'm not blaming Bull's. It's just that behind there is a brook, and this brook just keeps getting built upon, then it floods the other rivers. Cause it goes down Arcadia. So even if all the water things you put in there isn't gonna help the brook.
They're not gonna add any more water
It's gonna
than
have
there's
pressure.
already there.
You have pressure, water, you get more.
So I guess
Okay.
ultimately, this shopping center's been here for a long time. No significant improvements have happened since, what, 1996? So the water problems that have been getting worse and worse and worse are not from Market Basket, I guess. There's a lot of other things going on in town, developments.
Absolutely.
Outside of Market Basket. If anything, I think Market Basket's demonstrated a very good job of reducing impervious area. They're losing parking and putting in significant stormwater management provisions, boil water, treat the water, bring it up to current standards. We can't fix all the problems downstream related to our property, and, you know, they're
I
very
understand.
challenging site. We went through many design challenges to come up with a design that I feel like, you know, everyone should be proud of.
Any other abutters?
If I may.
Name and address, please.
Kelly, Adina, Gray Street. Looking at this, and I understand everybody's concern, especially with some of the areas and things, what have been going on in town. We have had a lot of water. We do have a lot of issues with wet brook, different rivers, wetlands, a lot of things would contribute. But when looking at this and watching everything that they're trying to do, they're not adding more onto the building. They're actually making the parking lot better for everybody. Granted, there might be some of it being invasive to you right now, but I think they seem pretty well to work with if you approach them. I think you'll have success. But I think they're trying to make it better from all flooding. We saw it was, we could call this one late market basket too, or whatever during the flooding part. And it looks like they're trying to make it better, not worse. And can't guarantee that it's gonna do anything with web work or change anything on that. That's us and then going forward, guys, but that's what I see for the budget.
All I'm saying is that there's a river, there's a brook.
Yeah,
The first one's called a brook, but they call it different things. There's a brook and then there's a ravine and then it goes into the river. My concern is not with the Willis's itself, but if the town can work with the Willis's and find, or whoever, and find out where this brook is, because the brook is coming from that area. Because it goes down, everything goes downstream. And the Riverdale section is all downstream. Nobody down there has sewage. And I'm not blaming Willis's, but I don't think that there's a river, there's a brook behind Willis's. There always has been.
Yeah, there's a lot of wetlands.
Yeah, I mean, it's been there for 60-something years.
Yes, we can, yeah.
So if there's a brook there that's been covered up between all the dirt and everything, you know, did anybody look to see? Because the brook has to come from someplace. Because it comes right down, Arcadia Road.
There's a lot of elevation and groundwater does come out of the ground eventually.
You know, you can see the brook, it's a large brook. There's water that flows there.
Okay. All set.
Yeah.
Okay.
and just to let the public know, I mean, the Board of Health is gonna be coming out of it. There is a warrant article coming up this spring. That stormwater is. They're hoping for it to go to engineering and not in front of you guys, so the public would not really be aware of these meetings. So I appreciate you guys doing what you do. And I hope that we keep it in the Board of Health, so the public is aware of these meetings with the stormwater. That has nothing to do with you, but that as we're talking about brooks and water and all that, people won't know about it, so it's up to the engineering department.
Okay, what's the board's fancy?
Yeah, so I make a motion for, approval of variance, so people can have a floodplain for 700 Boston Road, Valley Market Basket LLC. With the condition proposed by the, the condition proposed by the.
On the March 11th letter. And the March 11th letter,
Yeah, I'm sorry. that's the
from the Betis letter,
Okay.
March
yeah,
11th.
March 11th.
Second.
Next, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Okay.
Thank
4-0.
you very much.
Yeah.
What's that, Mary's name?
Thank you.
That way we just know that. I didn't.
I'm sorry, yeah, I didn't get it.
Copy of this, under conversation.
We couldn't understand what EMD, so we told you, share it, you guys.
No, I didn't.
Hold on.
Thank you, thank you.
So, the middle. You voted.
And Anthony,
We don't have-
what's his name?
we voted.
Anthony, no, not Anthony.
No, William, that's William.
William.
No, I know who you are.
Yeah.
You don't know who I am, but I know who you are.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I graduated with you in high school, but I'm a lot older than you.
Okay. I know
Bill.
there would certainly benefit from the time I graduated.
1966.
67. Yeah.
Oh, geez, I told you I was a lot
Yeah,
older than you.
you graduated my sister.
Plus, I know your wife. Who's good friends with Sandy Bates,
Oh, yeah.
okay? Bill,
Yeah.
no, what's this guy's name? Are you Bill?
No,
No,
No.
I'm Carmine.
he's Carmine, the other one is Eric.
He's with VHB.
Right.
They're
Carmine.
together.
Can you try to work with, talk to the Mathesons and over there and over on Heavenly Way to come to a peaceful,
Thank you.
you know, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
We're not trying to be assholes. In fact,
What he asked you was, what was the motion? Did you tell him what the motion
Who
was?
just asked that?
Mr. Matheson.
We don't care now.
No, he-
He just wants them to talk to him.
You asked what the motion was that was
Exactly.
made.
Yeah.
It was made to grant the variance in stormwater based on the recommendations from Beta Group. And what else, Sandy?
The standard conditions from the Beta letter.
Right, okay? So that's
And
what the-
those standard conditions will make it better. It will not make it worse. It'll make it better. It may not alleviate all the problems of
That's all we
the,
can ask for, you know?
right.
Okay, thank you.
See you, Bill. Tell Kathy I said hello, even though she knows who I am.
Okay.
You don't.
Say, wait, who's this guy?
See you, Bill. Okay. Next,
He's calling you Bennett.
Huh?
He's calling you Bennett.
Bill Bennett. Next, we got 250 Treble Cove Road, Department of Public Works. Name and address. Shoot.
My name is Tony Westpizer. I work with Weston and Sampson. I'm actually not a resident. I can give you my address if you want, but I'm
You
there
want, you don't need an address?
I can put down.
with Red Russell from the DPW.
Yeah. Right.
If you're all set, I'll jump ahead.
Go
So
right
we
ahead.
were here before a month ago on March 4th, and I'm just gonna provide you a brief update. And then we can answer any questions you have. So like I just said, we were here on March 4th. And since the last meeting, I do want to let the board know that all peer review comments have been addressed. There were a number of comments, responses, further comments with Beta Group, and those have all been resolved. We went to the planning board on March 11th, just a few weeks ago, and the hearing was closed and the permit was issued for the planning board. Similarly, we were at the Conservation Commission on March 13th, and that hearing was closed and the permit was issued. As far as an update specific to the main site, 250 Treble Cove Road, since the last meeting, there were really no comments that we had coming out of the last meeting from the board. So we haven't made any changes to that application or the materials that supported that application. As far as that shouldn't say main site, that should be satellite site at 67 Alexander Road. Since the last meeting, coming out of that March 4th meeting, you may recall that the board had requested that there having been no peer review of the stormwater design for 67 Alexander Road, the board requested that the town's stormwater engineer, Christine Papadopoulos, do a review of the stormwater design. That review was completed and a comment letter was issued on March 22nd. We provided, based on those comments, we provided minor revisions to the site plans as well as the stormwater report, and we submitted those on March 26th. And I just real quick gonna summarize for you what those revisions were. There was just a minor error showing the direction along one of the pipes, showing the directions of groundwater flow. It actually wasn't part of the system we're tying into, it was on just adjacent to, but anyway, we reversed the direction of a flow area for one of the existing drainage pipes on Islington Street. So that next bullet here I just explained. And then we changed the design to include replacement of an existing catch basin that's actually in the entrance to the facility right at Islington Road. we found that that was constructed of, it was an old catch basin constructed of block. And we decided to replace that with a modern catch basin and upgrade it with a deep hooded, with a deep sump hooded catch basin. So that will provide a little bit better water quality, just providing that replacement. So that's something we have added to the project. And we also added a spot grade per Christina's review, in the pavement at the inside corner of New Grass along, Islington Street. And that's just a direct stormwater to that existing catch basin in the driveway entrance. That catch basin is being replaced, but we'll be directing stormwater to that. And then the last item was we removed references in the O&M plan to a stormwater pollution prevention plan because the project does not require an EPA general permit or a stormwater pollution prevention plan. So we removed any references to that because we won't have that SWIP. So, and then lastly, we updated the, in the O&M plan, we updated the inspection of the oil grid separator to a frequency of 2 times per year. So, just kind of going through here, the permits that we're looking for the main site for 250 Treble Cove Road, we're looking for a stormwater management permit. We do have a waiver request and a variance request. And you may recall, we're actually looking for relief from the green engineering floodplain. What we're calling a reclassification. As far as the waiver request goes, we're looking for a waiver from the requirement of drainage profiles on the plans. As I explained the last time I was here, the plans do show that the proposed drainage will have no conflicts in the utility crossings. The pipe sizing spreadsheet shows no cover issues. And just a little bit of an aside, it's our understanding the regulations with regard to profiles really are for trunk lines. And that's a term typically, by our understanding, really refers to roadway projects. This is not a roadway project. So we're looking for a waiver from the drainage profiles. And then for the variance, we're looking for to allow proposed work for the retaining wall within a 25-foot no disturb buffer to the 100-year floodplain. Moving on, I'm sorry, just the green engineering floodplain reclassification. So now moving on to 67 Alexander. Forgive me, I'm out of respect for you guys, I'm trying to go quick here, and I can back up to any of these if you have any questions on. So for the satellite salt storage facility at 67 Alexander Road, again, we're looking for a stormwater management permit. We are looking for 2 waivers. One is for the cover over pipe. We're requesting the board to waive the 2.5 minimum cover requirement over drainage pipes. We do have 2 feet, and I do want to note that our pipes do have H20 loading rating up to 1 foot of cover. So we're 2 feet of cover. Just looking for relief from the 2.5 feet. And then also the local stormwater treatment requirements. You may recall there was some discussion during the last meeting about the treatment train, and that's something that was addressed as part of Christina's review, and I think we've addressed those issues in our meeting and with Christina's comments in her letter. That is the end of my presentation.
Do you have any? Yeah. Do you have any comment?
So, yeah, so we did not review the satellite as Tony indicated, but we did review 250 Treble Cove Road. It is a new facility and it does meet all the requirements of the stormwater management standards. The town of Billerica stormwater management bylaw and regulations. Yeah, generally, this site will be required to be inspected on a quarterly basis because it is a site that EPA is interested in, so it will be and need to be maintained on a regular basis. And they do have a very robust operation and maintenance plan. Again, we would recommend that the standard conditions be included. This project requires retaining wall, so we would expect a copy of the final stamped retaining wall plans. Two soil conditions, excavated for infiltration systems be observed by an agent of the town. Final copies of the stormwater pollution prevention plan and notice of intent and EPA letter of approval be submitted prior to pre-construction meeting. And a final, signed final updated operation and maintenance plan agreement shall be recorded.
Now, would you have anything to add? No?
No.
Okay. Christopher, any questions?
No, thank you.
Doctor?
No question.
Sandra?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. Then you know what we'll do?
Everything.
We'll entertain a motion.
This is for two separate
Right.
things.
separate motions.
I'm gonna go with first. I make a motion to grant request for stormwater management and waiver of regulation of Department of Public Works Facility Act 250 double code road limit with condition proposed by Peter Grove.
Second.
Oh,
Wait a
Lord.
minute, one person, who's second?
Andrew?
No, Chris.
Chris can take this one.
Yeah, okay.
It's funny, I thought I heard your voice, Andrew.
It was okay.
All those in favor? Aye.
I was quick on the call.
Thank you for answering all the questions.
Okay, now the second motion.
Yeah.
I make a motion for request of stormwater management approval and waiver of regulation for Department of Public Work for DPW solid storage facility at 67 Linden Roads. With the standard condition proposed by Christian.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
all.
Thank you for stopping by. Thank you.
See you, Phil.
Like, envelope that.
I think I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Do we
Second.
have anything to discuss before?
Joanne's retiring.
Joanne's retiring.
Yeah.
Last
When?
day, This is the last one.
This is it.
So you'll be here for one more meeting?
No, this is it.
This is it.
What?
Well,
This is the
what?
last one?
This is not right.
Oh, no. We should have planned something, or we should plan something,
Who can take her place? Nobody can do that.
You're right. God bless them. Thank you.
Good night.
She's retiring.
Thank you.
What do you want, Skip?
She did the announcement last week, or like, in the middle of last week.
Oh, we're gonna miss you, Joanne.
I'm gonna miss you. Yes, you are.
I am not.
You're gonna miss me.
20
You're gonna miss
years,
me.
20 years I've done this.
Okay, shut that.
Well, you ready? No, who made the motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded. Aye.
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 All right.
Wait a minute, no,
Wait.
okay. Unfortunately,
Wait.
God
I
bless
knew
the
what?
person that takes
Wait,
over.
wait till
Do you
I'll-
know how many hours
Can I hit end?
I spend on this?
Is it okay just to?
I pulled the plug in the owl too, all right?
Yeah.
Shit, if I did that.
I'm moving for all.